Welcome to the WellPoint Talk community. I'm Glenn, your host. Today we have joining us James from Swords of Blood. We'll be going into Swords of Blood shortly, but before we start, James, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your journey so far in the crypto industry?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm James Seaman. I'm a 36-year veteran of the video gaming space. I started as a teenager working on a title that exploded called the Oregon Trail. I was an intern. Didn't get any credit for the game at all, but it was my first foray into the industry. I was fortunate enough to work with great guys like Will Wright in my lifetime, working with SimCity. I worked on the Mist team and Exile, Command and Conquer, Ghost Recon, and Rainbow Six, Warcraft. But it's been just a great journey through my life. I've worked in all genres. I think I've worked on just about every console or everything that has a game put on it. I even worked on the Amazon Fire Phone for a game, which was obviously a complete disaster. But it's been an amazing time for me, and I was fortunate enough to work with a company called Artifacts Mundi. They made hidden object puzzle adventure games, and when they went public, they decided to make other games, and one of those games was Bladebound. And Bladebound was an ode to basically our love of Diablo. And so a lot of us who were very familiar with the RPG side of the industry worked on Bladebound. Unfortunately, a lot of the partners wanted to do their own projects too, and those projects lost a lot of money. And Bladebound kind of got washed up in the whole thing because their loss of money was they were not able to finish Bladebound, and obviously they were not able to promote it. And even without that, with literally zero user acquisition, and a game that was fairly unfinished, the game made $7 million, has a 4.7 rating on Google Play, and literally has people playing it to this day. When they restructured, one of the people that made Bladebound at Artifacts and myself formed a company called Hitbox Games, and we decided to take Bladebound, complete the game, but put in Web3 components to the game that would be more community-based for all the players, Web 2 and Web 3. So all of our items in the legendary status will be playable and tradable and sellable. And we wanted to be able to take every token, and we wanted also the Web 2 people to be able to be able to pay as they do right now seamlessly. So that's my journey into Web 3, trying to make a game that is absolutely brilliant, more brilliant, and be able to be more community-based and in the Web3 space so everybody can play it. So that is my journey into Web3.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, James. You're coming from my sort of area. Diablo, it was an amazing game. I played it over and over, and I think they've got Diablo 4 now. There's some demos of that out that people have been trying. And so let's dive in there. Can you provide, I mean, you've touched on this already, actually, in the introduction. Can you provide an overview of Swords of Blood and how it comes together with the gaming industry?
Well, Swords of Blood was created by, the five guys from Artifacts Mundi and myself and another writer from my team from RPGs. So I've been a part of RPGs since a company we acquired called SSI, Strategic Simulations Incorporated. If you want to Google that, guys, go ahead, because you find out a lot of things in the industry, sometimes. And SSI is actually the grandfather of all RPG games. They are the ones who took the games from the game room and the board and dice right to the screen. Literally, they were the first people who did it. In fact, a small company you might have heard of called Square Enix, they basically took, which was one of the games from SSI, and cloned it and created the very first Final Fantasy. So they obviously, created a niche that took off for them. And SSI, unfortunately, decided that simulations were more important than RPGs. And that was obviously a huge miss. But Bladebound was made as an ode to a great game. Obviously, Diablo, over the years, we've all played it. We thought, well, what could we do differently, and how could we do it better? We wanted to make the game mobile, which was different than Diablo. So even though Diablo does have a mobile game now, but we decided to make it a PC experience on mobile. And so with that, it has 60 or higher frame rates at 4K or higher. It is a game that plays very fast, doesn't have any lag, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's about 150 hours of first player experience. The multiplayer is asynchronous, so it's against bots. So you're playing one versus AI, and you're doing dungeon crawls with 5 or 6 AI people, and that was fun for a while, I thought. But when we took over the project, the biggest thing we thought was Bladebound needs PvP, real PvP. So before that, though, we needed to come up with the whole thing on the front end of the game. We basically walked into Web3 thinking that everyone would easily have a software package that would make you be able to pay with Visa, MasterCard, and blockchain, and have NFTs coming in and out of the game and seamlessly. And that's just not the case. A lot of people claim they do, but they don't. Some are very good at certain parts of it. So we noticed that some companies were very good at the front end as far as Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Fiat. Some were very good at the NFTs coming in and out of the game. And some were really good at bridging tokens without anybody knowing about it. It was basically a seamless system where people could pay with any token and it would bridge them automatically for them. So what we basically did as software engineers is we took 3 different technologies and we merged them into a proprietary front end. So our front end, if you are a Web2 player, you come in and you register just like you normally do. And you can pay with any type of fiat currency you like. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and the game will set up a custodial wallet for you. So you're on the blockchain, but you don't know it. So a lot of the Web2 guys, we would lose them immediately if this was a hard thing to get into and they had to create a wallet. So we decided to do this for them. The NFTs, like I said, will be tradable and playable and sellable. So it's quite cool how you can basically buy a game pack or buy things, and now you can get things back, which doesn't happen in a free to play game very often. You see games like Game of Thrones Conquest, you buy a game pack and you blow $99 on it, and basically it's useless after 10 minutes or 20 minutes. The items you have, if you change characters or something like that, they're meaningless to you now. But now you can actually trade them and sell them. And then on the blockchain side, you can come in now on Binance, or you can come in on Polygon and Cronus, and the game will automatically bridge the tokens for you and do everything automatically. We pick up all the costs, and so it's done seamlessly. And that's basically what Bladebound Going into Swords of Blood is all about. It's about seamless gameplay, and it's about bringing the Web 2 and the Web 3 community together. This is a serious AAA game. It is not, I'm not going to knock a lot of the blockchain games, but they're just not. We're talking about a PvP. Once we finish the front end and get this game out in 6 weeks for open beta, the new direction will be the PvP development. And we are bringing a guy in from Dota. I'm sure you're familiar with that franchise. And he will be producing a team that will create a 4, 8, and 16-player multiplayer by December. So we are looking at a game that's going to go from a hack and slash first player campaign to more of a community-based MOBA, if you want to get to the full thing. We're going to have expansion packs to create more lore. We're going to have all kinds of creative things for the community to do. We'll have prizes, of course. People can, I know the people out there who are like the play to earn guys. Where is that for me? Well, you can grind and you can do things and you can get legendary items in our game that are worth money. You can win tournaments where tokens drop. And also other prizes are given away. We're going to have partnerships with HP and Lenovo and all these great companies that will be able to promote tournaments and provide laptops and all kinds of cool prizes. And that's kind of the directions we're going for. We really want to create an RPG that brings the whole gaming world together and lets everybody have this huge community. And we hope that we can, over time, create a Web 2 community that is more knowledgeable about Web 3. I think the problem is now that the Web 2 community frowns on blockchain, but I don't think they really understand it, and that's the problem.
Awesome, James. That's great. You're building a great game. Like you say, there are some really rubbish games out there. And I mean, there is retro is coming back on more. Also, I suppose some sort of basic gaming as well is popular with some young people. But can you explain the in-game economy, how a digital assets, cryptocurrencies, or non-fungible tokens, we touched on the NFTs there, how they're utilized within the game?
Well, your tokens are your fiat money are used to buy sword tokens, and the sword tokens are used to buy several things in the game: the jewels, the tickets to the actuals. You'll get so many admissions to the multiplayer tournaments, but if you want to play more, you have to pay for them. But we do give you quite a few. I mean, but there's some people who love to play multiplayer over and over and over again. So there'll be timeouts, and if you want to pay to play faster, you can. The items will be available for legendary items for purchase. So if you're one of those guys who wants to get all your stuff immediately, you can. But obviously, the in-game economy provides the experience that you can level the character up and level your items up, and you can actually create your own legendary items over time. So it is a free-to-play game in that respect. The economy for the Web 2 guys be able to do the exact same thing. They're paying with fiat, and it's creating sword tokens for them, but they don't see the sword tokens really. They're in a custodial wallet, so they're just buying things like they normally would. They're buying the jewels, they're buying the things, and the sword tokens are automatically spent for them. So, like I said, they're on the blockchain, but they're not, but they don't know it. Our tutorial will, tap them on the shoulder and ask them, if they want to do more things, or if they want to trade their NFTs, and kind of bring them in, baby step them in to Web3. So that's that whole part. And then we'll be partnering with companies like OpenSea and other companies for third-party trading of our NFTs, but there will also be a first-party page for everyone as well. So the economy basically revolves around the sword token in two different ways. One on a multi-token platform where everyone is able to bridge their tokens into to our sword token, and on the other side, the fiat side for Web 2. So that's the basic economy, and it is quite basic. We want to keep it seamless because no one wants a 45-minute tutorial learning how to set up a wallet, or no one wants a 45-minute tutorial on how to bridge tokens from Binance to sword tokens. So we created the system that does it for you.
I see, James, and will players be able to earn and trade digital assets? I think you mentioned it's going to be a sort of blood token there. Are there any limitations or restrictions on the transferability of these assets?
There is no limitation. The only thing is that the legendary items right now are the only ones that are tradable. We are contemplating now backing it down to the next level as well. But as of right now, the legendary items are sellable and tradable, and there is no limitation. The market will do what the market does. The cool thing about some of our by the way, we call them game utility tokens. Okay, we changed the acronym from NFT to game utility token to basically be able to make it more clear to the Web 2 community. This is a in-game item that does play, and also the cool thing about it does keep a history as well. So, who owned the item, how many kills it has, did it win a tournament, all the things that this. So when you buy the item, you can see its history.
I see, James. Are there any plans for organising esports tournaments or competitive events? How will you support esports ecosystem and foster a competitive community?
There's definitely plans for esports. The 16-player multiplayer is going to be basically based. It's almost going to be esport completely. We can do 16 players, 1 versus 1. We can do 4-player, 4 versus 4 versus 4 versus 4. But we really want to create that whole competitive vibe in the game with the clans, and those clans can be esport teams. We really, really want. That's what we want. We want the game to have this really awesome PvP community that are able to express themselves. 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 3, and then have teams playing against each other. So that is where it's going, and we're really excited about it because. Nothing's better than having a game with a robust community playing it. I mean, I play so many different RPGs out there, and some first person shooters too. That they bring in, the community kind of really supports itself and talks among itself, has a Discord community, and that's kind of where we want it to be. We want the game to be kind of almost more than the game itself.
I see, James. And how will you ensure the scalability and efficiency of the game, especially considering the potential challenges associated with blockchain technology?
Yeah, it's not only scalability, but having the game be, be able to play seamlessly and have the ability for all the characters to be even and have the experience be great. It is a very challenging. Obviously, some people will find things in the game that will create advantages that we'll have to make patches for, make sure that everything is evened out and scalable. So basically, as far as we scale the game on Web3, the engine we have right now, like I said, the proprietary engine that we've built really gives us the ability to scale the game very fast. The limitations that we have right now, as we're made the game this year, they'll be gone because the new engine we have built into it, the new front end we have, allows us to basically make things and change things in the economy of the game quickly and seamlessly. So that's why we built it. Now, when we do the open beta, we're making sure that system we built is quite secure. We'll be using test tokens in the beginning. So everyone who plays the game in the open beta will get test tokens. They will obviously be given quite an amazing amount of things for their time, but we will be able to see, what happens, how things work, if there's any security issues of any kind before we release the game this summer. So as far as scalability goes, though, the tournaments, the PvP, and how they're structured, they've been well planned out, and how we're going to be able to have the ability for people to buy into these tournaments, to play in these tournaments. The prizes that are given away and the tokens that are given away in the tournaments have been built into the tokenomics models. So we are well ready for the scalability of the game, and we have right now almost 2 years of lore that, basically we've kind of planned out the game moving forward as far as the expansion packs. So we're ready to scale the game. Our engine is built for it, and we're really excited about it. I think I have to say, I think as far as all games in the Web3 space, I really believe we have the best of the best working on both sides of it. And we have so many great people, Fundamental Labs, and Greg from Adesco has been paramount, the guys from Sphere One. Everybody has really, and all of our investors on our advisory committee have given us so much knowledge about this industry that we're able to take that knowledge and then put it into our programming and make sure that it works seamlessly.
Great, James. And what are your plans for community engagement and involvement? How will players have a say in the development and evolution of Swords of Blood?
We have plenty of, in fact, the open beta. I'm looking forward to people's. This is their game. I mean, really, it's their experience. We've obviously built a game already, and we hope they enjoy what they're going to see. But the PvP as it evolves, we'll have an alpha playable for those who want to be involved. We'll have a closed beta for the PvP. And during that time, it's imperative that people speak up and say, this is great, this is terrible, we like this, we don't like that. We'll be leaning to the community for when we do the expansion packs. So there'll be people that we feel that, that like people part of the clans, larger clans, guys who are in charge of those clans, will invite these people on to come almost like a player board where they'll be able to come in, and we'll be talking about the direction of the game and having their input from it, because like I said, it's their game. And we want to create more storylines and more characters and all that, but we want to make sure that fits in line with the people who are playing the game. So there'll be lots of great conversations during the closed beta. We'll be having Zoom calls with if anybody in the closed beta will be able to attend those. And the alpha playable for PvP, the same. Those who are invited to play will be getting the same. They'll be able to talk to us directly. And so it's very important for me. And as a game developer, it's always been my thing, is to be able to listen to the community, because they are the people who play your game.
Great, James. And how do you plan to balance the competitive aspects of the game while ensuring a fair and enjoyable experience for the players? Are there like any anti-cheat measures in place?
Yes. Excuse me. The anti-cheat thing is that's I really I hate people who find loopholes in games. I take my hat off to them because obviously they played the game a lot, but we're going to try to make the play balance as fair as possible. And like I said, there will always be times where people will find a loophole and we'll close it. But it's very important that there's play balance, people get an enjoyable experience from the game, and nothing is worse than a guy who finds a glitch and no one in the game company never fixes it. So we'll be doing that. Obviously, the tournaments that are built, there'll be 2 tiers. So there's the tournaments that you can get prizes and you could win things, and obviously those are going to be the guys who they're the tournaments for prizes and the tournaments for things are not level based. So if you're a level 5 guy and you want to get into the big boy prize tournament, you're playing against level 50 guys. I mean, so it will tell you it's probably not in your best interest to play in these certain tournaments, the big tournaments. Now there'll be a second and third tier of tournaments. There'll be tournaments below that, less prizes, less esport oriented, and they'll be level based. And then there'll be tournaments that are recreational only, and they'll level based as well, but a lot less competition, more learning. So, and you can also, in the recreational tournaments, turn the whole thing on to bots. So you can play recreational tournaments against AI if you want to, just to be able to practice. So there's a 3-tier level of tournament system. There's the recreational, there's the prize tournaments, and then there's the hardcore esport tournaments.
I see, James. And is there, the expansion packs? How would you pay for them? What's the cost of the NFTs that we've discussed? Yeah, and is it play to win? Is it is it fairly balanced?
The expansion packs are basically it's a free to play game, so they're added for free. So basically, free to play games are built on a premise that people can play for free, or people who don't want to wait or play or grind can buy things on their own if they want to. That's their prerogative. If they don't want to wait or they want things now, then they can pay for them. The tournament, the expansion packs will be built on two different phases. One will be the storyline of the game, so expanding the lore, and one will be expanding the co-op or PvP experience, having more dungeon crawls or things where people can take over properties or zones. So we have that thing planned where clans can, over the weekend, can take over parts of the world, and that's theirs for the week. So there's all of those kinds of things that are happening, and the whole thing about play to win, we really need to try and discourage that. But there's always the guys who want something now, and the guys who grew up, they're the kid who wanted their cookies now. Those guys will buy the best armor and the best everything, and it could be quite expensive. But like I said, it doesn't really help them because it only helped them in the esport section, because the other ones are built. You're going to play against people that are your level. And so if you bought all that armor, you're going to play against guys who have all that armor and all that, and those swords you have. So you're going to have to be able to play the game too. In the recreational tournaments, you'll also be playing against people that are the exact same as you. The only time you might have some advantage is if you drop into an esport tournament immediately and you have all this stuff, but you still have to play against guys who know what they're doing. And at a certain point, you can have the greatest items in the world, but if you can't play the game, you're going to get beat. So we're trying to make it so everybody has a niche or a play area to play in. You'll be able to play the game quite a long time. In fact, you'll be shocked actually how long you can play our game for free. So there's very few timeouts in the game right now, and so we give people a really good fair shake of being able to grind and earn these legendary items. We don't time you out after 30 minutes and say come back tomorrow. You're given a lot of time. We understand how much it takes to build a legendary weapon, so we give you that time, and so we want everybody to have a chance.
Okay, great, James. And what's the cost to mint the NFTs? Is the rarities attached? How many are you going to mint? And which blockchain are they on?
NFTs are going to be several different price tiers compared. So we have legendary items, and I know in Europe, you guys have. I think it's funny. You have the floor 0. So in America, we have floor 1. So when this game was created, level 0 is level 1. So we have 0 through 4, which is the levels of the actual items in the game. So every single item in the game, from legendary down to poor, has 4 levels. It also has different elements that can be added, which make the item obviously water, fire, things like that, make the item different and different in art as well. So basically from that, we created a scale of pricing from, because it takes a lot of time to make a level 0 item a level 4 item and then add elements to it as well. So within that, there'll be a price structure which will be put together over the next. We are basically working on a price structure that makes it fair for everybody, the guys who grind it out. But there'll be items as low as $20, and there'll be items as high as $1,000. And some of these $1,000 items or higher will be what's called phygital. So I heard this word, and I'm kind of sticking with it, and I'm not going to trademark it because I heard it from somebody else. But basically, imagine the word physical and the word digital mixed together, and it's exactly what it is. And it helps us with the Web 2 community bring them into Web 3, because these guys, NFT for them is a 4-letter word. So how do you get them to buy an NFT? Well, you walk into their life. What is an RPG player? What do they collect? They collect figurines and action figures and all kinds of things like that that are all over their walls. So why don't we just bring them in that way? We basically, some of the items we have, like our swords, we'll make letter opener size ones on a nice little plaque, and it has a redemption code on it. Well, we all know what that redemption code is. It's an NFT address. But for them, it's a redemption code for a GUT, a game utility token. And they just put it into the computer or their phone, and boom, their item's playable, and it's on their desk. How about they want a whole armor set with a sword and everything, all built for them in one shot. They want everything done. Well, they could buy an action figure, and the action figure has a redemption code on it, and that redemption code opens up that entire character onto their game. So we've just baby stepped a hardcore Web 2 player into the blockchain with what they love to buy. And the cool thing is, some of these characters and some of these swords will have some star power to them. Some people are very familiar with the show Forged in Fire, and some aren't. It is a History Channel show. It has about 14 million viewers. And it is a show. It's pretty basically the thing where a bunch of guys get together and they forge weapons. And there's a group of people who judge these weapons. And one of them is Ben Abbott. And Ben Abbott is, to this day, undefeated in forging and sword making across the entire world. He beat the Japanese champion, beat the Chinese champion. He's beat everybody in North America. And I got to know Ben over the years, and he's gone and done us the privilege of becoming our weapons analyst. And he is now forging the Sword of Blood. So our unique Sword of Blood will be out next week. We're very happy about that. So that'll be our first digital item. So we'll be able to have Ben at some of our gaming shows on the blockchain and on Web 2, coming and signing autographs and signing some of these digital items for people. So, and then we have guys in the music industry that are doing some soundtrack work from us. One of the band members from Disturbed, Metallica, and other bands have been gracious enough to make some background music for us. And some of these gentlemen will be showing up to some of our gaming shows, signing autographs. So that kind of brings everybody together. And some of those items that are the digital items, like I said, will be the more expensive ones, the ones that are signed and autographed and things like that. And there'll be ones that are lower in price that are playable and affordable. So we're kind of trying to be in both sides, give everybody the ability to have a strong character, but also give the people who want to have all the bling and all that and that have their chance to have that as well.
Okay, sounds great, James. And will you have an NFT marketplace on the website or an in-game marketplace for players to trade these NFTs?
Yes, we will. But we will be dancing around the Google Play and Apple regulations. That's why we created a PC version. So this game has never been on PC before. So in our negotiations with Google Play and Apple, it will probably work like this. All the items that you have will be playable in the games, and the in-game NFT store will be more towards the PC version of the game. So you'd be able to back out of your game and open it up on PC, trade the items on our network or on OpenSea or one of our third-party partners, and play, and it'll go into your mobile game because it's cross-play. So, but as of right now, Apple does not really give us the ability, or Google, to do that. And as they do that, we will add those functionalities to the game. We're 40 miles away from both campuses, by the way. So here in Northern California, but I'm very familiar with Apple and Google. I've been doing business with them since Google's inception and since almost Apple's inception. So my game Mist and the game I worked on, SimCity 2000. Those franchises are still the number one franchises on Mac, period. I mean, The Sims and SimCity are the number one franchise on Mac, period. Mac doesn't have all the games that the PC side has, but SimCity, SimCity 2000, and The Sims are the number one selling franchise on Mac right as we speak. And I've worked on both those franchises. So I have a lot of good people I know at Apple, but their ecosystem does not provide the ability for this free NFT trading. And it has a lot to do with, obviously, they're not making their percentages or they're not able to control it. And control is the main word here. They want control. So what we'll be doing is giving the people the option, the ability to be able to, on the PC side, freely trade, freely do everything. And then on every store on the mobile side, we can have this store, and we will have it. So if Tencent in China gives us the ability to do that, we will do it. So depending on what store the game is on, will be what limitations are set on the mobile side. There'll be no limitations on the PC side.
Awesome, James. And can we go into the tokenomics of Swords of Blood and the potential benefits for token holders and utilities?
Yeah, I appreciate that. We have on the tokenomics model, we've set a lot of percentages of our tokenomics model towards community-based gaming. So, like I said, tokens dropping during tournaments and things like that will be, very robust. People will be able to earn and get tokens. Sometimes in the game, randomly tokens will drop in the game as well. So the players themselves will be able to benefit from a very large pool of tokens that we have put into our tokenomics model. We don't want to step into the play to earn model, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents, basically, and I'm not bagging on free play to earn, but well, I am. I am bagging on play to earn. I mean, I really don't believe in it. I understand it does make money for people, and I really do understand the part from a player's perspective. But from an economic perspective, I mean, I went to school, and I have a master's degree, and I've taken a lot of economics classes. And when you break down play to earn, it just doesn't work because it has an end. It has to have Peter pay Paul, and Peter pay Paul, and Peter pay Paul, and sooner or later, Peter runs out of money. So you have to do something else, create another token or do something, because it is in itself a Ponzi scam. So this runs out of money. So we try to come up with play to own. And that basically will drop tokens, but it also will be able that people have items in the game they'll be able to sell and earn money from as well. So owning things in our game creates an economy for all the game players. So we felt that was something that keeps the game going and keeps the game moving forward for not only this year, but a 5-year plan, which the game has. Also, we basically think that our game, having the people from the Web 2 side are used to spending a lot of money on IAP items and things like that, and that IAP is moves into sword tokens. So basically, if someone's buying an in-game item in their Web 2 player, the custodial wallet is buying sword tokens off the marketplace and then buying things in games. So the amount of money that comes into our game and buys sword tokens will create a robust sword token, rise in price. So we realize that that's something that's different. That we have actually people spending money that will drive the token's price up. So that's also great for the Web3 people who invest in our token. We're having a private sale right now. It's gone extremely well. We've been on it for about 40 days or 50 days now. This is just people from like $20 and $10 and $5 that we've raised over $1.26 million just from the player community. And we're stunned and we're super excited about it. But suffice to say, when you invest in our token and you dump it day one, you will be very sorry. We're giving 100%. You can drop the token in day one, 100%. You get all of it. No vesting at all. The private sales 100% drop to the gaming community. But I tell you, hold the token, because the amount of IAP that will be coming into this game. You got to remember, this game has made $7 million already. That's with no user acquisition. That's with nothing. That's with no PvP. Imagine this game when it drops into the space with all the changes that we've made, and we bring PvP to the table, and an expansion packs to the table. What this game is going to do. We already have projections. We think the game's going to do between 20 to 25 to $50 million in 2024 in IAP. Imagine what that's going to do to the token price, because it's basically buying tokens up. So we really believe that our token model is got a two-pronged approach. Not only will work on the existing system that most games work on in Web3, but it will have a robust IAP driving token price.
Okay, great, James. Yeah, I can see on the website you've raised a lot of money there. So if investors want to get involved at the moment, is there a vesting period on the tokens? And for some investors, they don't want to connect their wallet to a website. Will it go to a launch pad, or will it launch at the end of the pre-sales?
You got me on the wallet part, because that's my technical guy. I'm pretty sure you don't have to put your wallet onto our site, but that's a question I will have to pass on to your community later in the day. But because he designed that whole thing to be super secure and make sure everyone was comfortable with that. So I'm pretty sure that it was done with the thought that you didn't have to put your wallet into place. But I'm not sure if it has or not. And the private sale itself, there is no vesting period. So basically, we are right now in the final talks with GSR. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they're a very popular market making team. GSR is guaranteeing liquidity, by the way, not okay. But so our liquidity will be 100% at launch. So all the money outstanding, the investors that invested in this game, and by the way, people who invested in this game, the big guys, their vesting period is 2% at launch and 24 months. The private sale is 100% at launch. So the people who invested quite a sum of money in this game, their vesting period is quite a long time. And then I think that's something that we built in early. But the public sale, we wanted people to be, if you want to be involved, it's at 8 cents. The token will drop at 11 cents, I think, or 10.5 cents. So if you want to drop it day one, it's going to, our TGE is set for, and some of the people have been asking us on our website. Since we are partnering with new partners like GSR, and there's another token we might introduce into our model very shortly. We're in talks with another token as well, so it'll be multi-token besides Polygon. But yeah, we're delaying TGE into late June. We want GSR to have the time to do the marketing on their side and introduce themselves to our community. But they're going to be a welcome partner to us, because market making is a huge thing in the Web3 side. And I can't think of a better company to be involved with than GSR. And if you don't know who they are, please look them up, because we've done our homework, and we really feel comfortable with them managing our token over the next 5 years.
Awesome, James. And what is your roadmap for the future development of the game? Are there any upcoming features, expansions, or partnerships you can share?
I'm looking right now. I am in some talks with some companies I really can't discuss, but I will be the expansion packs and the new lore will have some really, really cool additions, and ones that from different storylines and things like that that you've heard of, and different franchises that are dead now that you've heard of. But we'll be paying homage to some things as well in some of our expansion packs, bringing some characters in for some older games. If you are familiar with an RPG franchise that is completely dead right now, that you would like to see some characters resurrected in our game, please feel free to shoot me a message, because that's kind of what we're looking for. We love to bring some older game franchise characters back to life, and the lore in our new lore. And I think, the guys from Artifacts Money did a really good job, because they did have some of my writers, that are involved with my company now, writing their lore. But when you live in Poland, and nothing against Polish people, because it's one of my favorite places in the whole world, but there really is not a lot of international flavor to some cities in Poland. So you don't get all the different kinds of walks of life you would see. So some of the characters in our game lean more towards the Slavic community. So you'll see a big change in the characters, lots of more international flavor, different nationalities, different languages. So it'll be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm from the Bay Area in San Francisco, so our entire community is a melting pot here, and we see everything, all different kinds of walks of life, and we feel that's very important for game players to see themselves in the game.
Awesome, James. And how do you plan to attract and retain players in a highly competitive gaming market? What sort of strategies do you have in place for marketing and user acquisition?
Well, the user acquisition, the beginning will be there's a two-prong attack, basically, for marketing. One is towards the Web3 community, and one's towards the Web2 community. Two separate marketing teams. So that's how it will start, and then it will blend into one marketing team. I'm very familiar with PvP games like Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon, Command & Conquer. I'm very familiar with what it takes to retain customers and players in those games, and the biggest thing really is providing content. It's content, because players will play through something, and once it becomes boring, they're gone. So we want to make sure that the PvP, we add content to it, we add different flavors, different things to the tournaments. We want to make sure we take advice from some of the clans will be very powerful in these games. I mean, obviously, if you play games like Game of Thrones Conquest or League of Legends, you understand that there's these large scale clans, and we'll have different communities. So the game's not going to be set like one world. We'll have so many clans, and then there'll be another World 2, and then World 3, and then World 4. So we want a certain level, like maybe 20 clans, and then a certain amount of players in each world. So everybody has an ability to be number one, because if it was just one game and 1.9 or 2 million customers, to be number one would be impossible almost. So there'll be a way that we break the game into different parts. However, saying that, there will be esport tournaments that bring the best of the best from every community into every these worlds into one tournament. So not only will you be playing tournaments within your world, you'll be able to play tournaments against other worlds all the time, and we will set those things up and make it fresh. And I think, and I'm going to bring Game of Thrones Conquest again involved here, because I've looked at their how they've done things, and I think they're doing a good job. They do a great job at tournaments and bringing people together. They do a very poor job is that they don't give much back to the community at all. It's a play to win super scam. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's no way to even protect your castle without having to pay money. And if you don't protect your castle, you can lose everything. And speaking of losing everything, some of the tournaments we have that could be large-scale prizes, or large-scale prizes as far as NFTs go, could be basically, I don't know if you're familiar with the old days where you race for pink slips, okay? I don't even know what pink slip is, but a pink slip is basically something that used to be in your car that basically was registration that you owned the vehicle. Once you owned your vehicle, you got this. It was a pink piece of paper. It was a title to the car. So back in the old days, people would race their cars for pink slips. That means if you lost, guess what? You lost your car. So there'll be some tournaments in the game where if you play and you lose everything you came into the game with that tournament with. So your sword, your armor, all of it. And if you win, you gain all these things. So there's ability on that side. So it's almost like a drag race from the old days. You could play 1 versus 1 against a guy, evenly matched, of course, and or you could just challenge somebody to a fight, to a duel. So there's those things that'll be happening in the game.
Great, James. Yeah, we didn't touch on that, whether you could have looting in the game. So some PvP will be looting. And I was wondering as well, is there going to be dungeons where you can loot? Can you get NFTs in game as well?
Oh yes, the dungeon crawling and things like that. That's awesome. So, there'll be the kind of times where people can, call up their buddies and get 5 guys together and go through a dungeon, because certain dungeons will open at certain times. So people can come in and go through the dungeon and raid the dungeon, and if they successfully raid the dungeon, they keep all the items. Of course, if they don't, they don't. So if they die, they die, and those you'll be able to go into those dungeons for free up to a certain point, and then if you want to play more, you have to buy tickets to the dungeons. But there'll be cool stuff that'll open up in them. They'll be it's set for different levels. So if you're want to loot at a lower level than legendary, they'll be easier. And if you want to loot in the legendary, then you better have your best guys. So it'll be tough. We want to make sure that the game is set for different play levels and set properly.
Great, James. I'll ask one more question, then we'll open up to community investor questions. So I was wondering, what is your vision for the future of Swords of Blood and its impact on the gaming industry as a whole?
I really want this game to be the first game that really truly brings Web 2 and Web 3 together, and that's a huge statement. But I really want it to be that game. I just went to a couple of game shows on the Web 2 side, and quite frankly, there's nobody doing that right now on our side that brings a true AAA game that takes both sides into consideration. And I know it's a lot, but it is our goal to be that game that brings in star power, brings in digital items, brings different things in from what the Web 2 community really appreciates, so they can appreciate what Web 3 does. So, and then have the Web 3 players literally be able to play a game that's worth fucking while. I'm sorry to swear, but man, literally play a game that is really good. That takes, your time is well spent. You enjoy it. It has AAA graphics. It's playable on PC and your mobile device, and possibly console someday. And it has frame rates and graphics that are acceptable within the gaming industry of today. So that's my vision of Swords of Blood, a community-based game that provides each player from all walks of life the ability to really have a great time, and in the Web3 space, really earn and own.
Great, James. I was wondering, are you looking to go to like crypto gaming conventions as well to promote the game in the future?
Most definitely. I mean, that's part of like I said, we have a Web3 marketing group that we'll be attending quite a few of the. So it'll be two-prong attack. We'll be going to the Web3 and Web2 gaming shows simultaneously. So there'll be different people at different shows. Obviously, there will be different messages of those shows. And most of the Web2 shows will be just educating people on Web3 and getting them to play the game and see that it's really not just hocus pocus. And it is something that, that people, it's kind of one of those things when people learn about something, they don't fear it anymore. And on the Web3 side, we'll just be showing people an amazing game and how they can benefit, how they can earn and own, and how they can trade freely and seamlessly play our game with any token. But we're looking forward to showing our game and having Web3 people play it because, quite frankly, I would say 90-something% of the games on Web3 right now are just absolutely garbage as far as graphics and systems of play and co-op play and things like that. We really want to show people a AAA game that play balanced well, co-op gaming, PvP, all of it.
Awesome, James. Let's take some community questions. We've got some hands up there. Let's see. We've got Syed here. You had a question for James at Swords of Blood. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Okay, from your white paper, I noticed that the players will be required to hold certain amount of native tokens and to participate in specific tournaments, and some tournaments will have an entry fee. So this is a question in my mind. If skilled players are unable to afford purchasing and holding tokens or paying entry fee, are you planning to initiate a sponsorship program? This program can allow investors holding the tokens to delegate their tokens to the skilled players.
So every tournament will have free tickets, a certain amount. So everybody will be able to play at least once in any tournament they want to. So the tournament's set for a week. Everybody will be given at least one ticket to the tournaments. Could be more based on the tournament itself, and then how the tournament's rules are set. And as far as delegating their tokens to a more advanced player, that is something that is actually a very good idea, and is something that, like I said, we're going to be doing the Zoom calls with all the players in closed beta, and that is something that I would have loved to, I'd love to hear, and something I will talk to my game designer about immediately, because it does make sense that people who are playing on the Web3 side, and it's more about the play to own and play to earn. Be able to earn items and own them. It's more important for them to be able to sponsor players and things like that. So that's something I can definitely see happening in our game, and it's a very great idea. I really appreciate that, by the way. But there will be free. You will be able to play for free, though. Believe me, you will have certain amounts of tickets. So, and don't think that these ticket prices are going to be egregious, because they're not. It's not. It's all about having community-based gaming. So we want people to play in these tournaments as much as they want. So don't imagine ticket prices being egregious.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Syed. Let's go to Aisha. You had a question for James at Swords of Blood. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. So you mentioned that you have a proprietary engine for the game. I'm curious about the reasons behind your decision not to develop the game using Unity engine or Unreal Engine.
Okay, let me back that up. Okay, so it is on Unity. However, our proprietary engine that we're talking about is the front end that is built into Unity. So our proprietary engine is the front end of the game that allows the economy to work. So allows people to pay with different currencies, allows people to pay with blockchain, any blockchain token, and allows people to freely move the NFTs in and out. So we built this proprietary engine on Unity. So it is the only engine So basically, we could license the engine to be used for any Unity game developer. So this engine took us almost a year to build. It was not easy, and because we see so many other companies say, well, hey, we can do this or that, but it really wasn't the case. Nobody can freely move NFTs in and out of a game the way we wanted it to be done seamlessly without having to leave the game or move to a website. We want it to happen in the game, and we want it to happen seamlessly so the user never had to wait. So that's what I meant by proprietary engine. Excuse me, because I have been a part of building proprietary engines in my lifetime. And back in the old days, everything was proprietary. There wasn't Unity or anything like these that exists today, which makes it amazing for game developers to have Unity. It really gives the ability for small guys and indie developers to build great games. Excuse me if I misspoke, but the proprietary side is our economic side built into Unity.
Wonderful. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for the question, Aisha. Next, we've got Western Beast. You had a question for James. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really lovely game. I just wanted to drop a few questions. When I actually saw that you guys generated over $6 million US in in-app purchases, my mind went straight to Google in-app purchases. I was actually going to look for the game on the Play Store, but I did not see it there. Is there another form of purchase that maybe is it based on unique web purchase?
Excuse me, can you clarify that one more time as far as the purchases? I didn't understand the question
Yeah, I
itself.
was actually asking, is it a web-based game? Is it a PC-based game?
So the game as Bladebound, which is on the Apple and Google Store, is the game that Swords of Blood is coming from. So Bladebound has made $7 million, close to $7 million now, and has the ratings, and we are part of that game. However, once Swords of Blood comes out, it will move Bladebound out, move Bladebound out of the picture and move Swords of Blood into becoming replacing it, because basically Bladebound will not have the PvP and all the things that we've added. So Swords of Blood will be the one full-blown community-based game that built from Bladebound that was unfinished. So we've taken basically an unfinished game or unfinished game idea, and we changed the name, and we're adding all these different components to it, including the PvP and the expansion packs, and it will become the new game. But if you want to play some of what the old game had, Bladebound is out there right now on iOS and Google Play. It just will not have the functionalities for Web3, the new tutorials, the new NFT systems, the new items and art we will have. And Swords of Blood has been revved up to the new Unity engine, and Bladebound's on the old Unity engine. So we're able to, and then Swords of Blood, for the first time, will take the old Bladebound franchise and move it into PC, which it never has been on. So it'll be a brand new game on that platform. And I sort of had some, I said it a couple times, but there is a very serious look at console right now. We are in deep negotiations right now with one company on how we could work our NFT system and what they'll allow us to do. But you will probably see Swords of Blood on console very shortly.
That's pretty interesting news. I wanted to ask him, would you be combining people who are gaming on PC in the event that the Android version comes, or will it be two separate integrations?
The game will be cross-play. So I understand that people who play on Android and on iOS for tournaments, it could be an issue. I would thoroughly recommend playing tournaments on the PC version. But I said that, but now that my good friends from Samsung gave me an S23 Plus phone here, and I used a gamepad with it. It's a smaller screen, but that thing actually is mind-blowingly fast. So you won't have I guess, an issue playing on a very fast phone with a pad if you're playing on multiplayer. But it is cross-play, so your account moves fluidly between PC and mobile, and the company I'm talking about works well with PC, so your game will be cross-play between all three platforms.
Pretty cool. The high-end gaming phones actually could stand on par with laptops. I really appreciate you, James, for answering my questions. I wish you guys the very best, and I really hope the Swords of Blood project stays bullish, my lord. Thanks a lot, Glenn. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
The question, Western Beast. Next, we've got Venice. You had a question for James. Go ahead.
Yeah, Glenn, thank you so much. Okay, I have a question regarding the guild system in Swords of Blood. That how can the game incentivize players to actively participate
in what? I didn't hear the last word. In what?
Yeah, it's cut out there. Are you there, Venice? Oh.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. Maybe you should repeat your question from the start, please.
Yeah. Okay. I was saying that my question was regarding the guild system. That how can the game incentivize players to actively participate in guild activities and contribute to its growth, rather than simply benefiting from the guild's boost and shared rewards?
Well, the guilds themselves will be able to participate in the tournaments, and basically the share of prizes will be delivered to the guild and dispersed to the guild to do what they want with those prizes. So if you have it's up to the guild itself to guide itself. What hierarchy it has, and for you as a game player to be a part of a guild that you're comfortable with. If you're part of a guild with a guy, who runs the guild and keeps everything for himself, well, that's not really a guild you want to be in. So if you are in a guild that's truly a co-op guild, which is, I hope everybody is involved in more of a co-op experience where everyone benefits. If the guild wins a tournament, everybody in the guild probably participated and tried, and they should be given equal share in the amount that's won. So it is up to the player to join a guild that is up for them. But believe me, that there'll be plenty of prizes and opportunities for these guilds to win guild versus guild tournaments, world versus world tournaments. If a guild wants to be an esport guild, it can be an esport guild, and then it can be, obviously enter the huge tournaments that are involved. But each guild will have its own unique system to manage itself, govern itself. So it's up to the player to accept those systems or move to a different guild. Because I've been a part of guilds in my lifetime where the leader of the guild kept everything or gave basically nothing to any people. But that's when I would start my own guild or join a guild that was more of a co-op experience, because I know everybody worked hard and deserved fair share of the booty, basically. So there'll be plenty of, like I said, there'll be plenty of opportunities for all the guilds to earn items and win things. And it is up to you as a player to join a guild in your world that suits you as far as what is dispersed.
Okay, that's really great, and you guys are doing great job. Game looks awesome, and Ben Abbott working with you is really interesting because his show Forged in Fire was super cool. And yeah, thank you so much for answering my
Yeah,
question as
and
well.
Ben, by the way, he's a super guy. He's just the greatest guy. He's one of those guys that you leave the room smiling after you met him, because he's just such a great guy, and he's super talented. It's just amazing that the guy could take a few ball bearings and turn it into a beautiful weapon. He's an amazing person.
Thanks very much, Venice, for the questions. It's been great speaking to James today from Swords of Blood. We recommend you check out the Swords of Blood website to see some of the gaming aspects, find out more about the characters, and read the white paper. If anyone's got any more questions, join the official social links in our main chat. And yeah, if you've got more questions after the AMA, and it's been great speaking. Thank you very much for coming today, James.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And the private sale 3 will be closing in, I think, 10 days. I think we've extended it a little bit because of a couple of promotions we're doing. But like I said, it's a 100% vest at launch. And if people want to invest $5, $6, $10 or whatever, we appreciate your help in bringing this game to life. Basically, it's for you. And I really hope that you'll be part of the closed beta. For even if you invest $10, just be part of the closed beta. And I want as many people out there to be part of that experience to help this game become what it can.
Great, James. And yeah, I'll finish the recording. I'll DM you a copy of the recording over. You can share with the community, and I'll send that into the main chat for anyone who wasn't on the call today.
Thanks, Glenn. I really appreciate your time.
Take care, James.
Cheers.